everyone, it's Dulcie here. I just switched up my onboarding processes in all of my organizations, and I thought I would share this with you because I've seen exceptional results when it comes to team members really fitting into their role and knowing that they're working for something much bigger than themselves. Although I was seeing dedication and love for the role before, this has put different pieces of the puzzle together. I've noticed that they're so much more autonomous even in their training phases. I think it's become the norm during training. We say as business owners, they don't know what to do, so we need to handhold them. What I've realized through this new onboarding process is there's definitely been less handholding, and there's been a culture more around, let me just figure this out myself. I'm going to take initiative. I'm seeing things, and even though it's not part of my role or my department, I'm still going to bring this up to your attention and take lead. I've noticed is that a lot of these team members are starting to become leaders in their little silos, and it's fantastic to watch because the more they can cultivate that for themselves, the more time I can buy back as a business owner and use that time to produce the things that I really want to, the value I want to give back. One of the biggest things that I really had to get my head around is there's a huge difference between training and onboarding somebody. And I think this is not distinguished very well in business and with business owners. When we hire people, we are hiring usually because the company is growing at a fast pace, or we want the company to be growing, or there's too much to do, right? And so we've hired people so that we can tick more things off our to-do list. Now, here's the thing. When you come from that mind frame, what happens is that when you hire somebody, you instantly on their first day go, hey Sally, welcome to the company. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to work this on the computer. And we go straight into training. Oh yeah, and that's Bob and that's Dave and he does this and she does that and all this kind of stuff. And it's chaotic, right? This poor person is just coming in, they're trying to figure it out, do their best, and not get fired. That's what they're doing. So what is an onboarding? Training, firstly, is all about telling someone what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So we're teaching and showing people things in training sessions. Training is the action plan. That's a step-by-step process of doing the things that need to be done to produce a result. But onboarding is getting them to see the principles and the guidelines, who we are and what we stand for. Onboarding session, I use that to have discussions around what is the result, right? What is the bigger picture here? What is the vision, the mission? The biggest thing that I share with them is, why are we doing all of this? What is the purpose of all of this? This is key because it takes them away from thinking they're waking up and just coming to do a job, and understanding that when they come in here, they are showing up as someone completely different, and they're able to contribute as a team to this particular success. So I really hone down on the purpose and the why. But here's the thing. I don't then just move on to what we do and how we do it. So now that I've shared my why, or the organization's why, I really want to know their why. I always ask them, what's your vision? What's your life's desires? What do you stand for? Who are you? And what are you bringing to this? This is where it gets really powerful. We start connecting a lot of the dots for them, because when we start asking them about their vision, we start taking them to a place that's a lot more expansive. I oftentimes start asking them further reflective questions like, who do you need to become for this to happen? Or what do you need to do in this role for this to come to life? And I'm getting them to connect the dots to see who they are in this role and how they show up and what they do is ultimately in alignment with the vision for their life as well. And this is so key, because a lot of the times people keep life and work very separate. And that's interesting because we're the same individual, right? What I believe is that when people keep work and life separate, we have these separate visions perhaps, and that actually creates an internal conflict, because majority of the time they're never aligned, because we never took the time to bring alignment. And so it's important that when I ask them about their vision, I get them to see how this role is going to expand them to become the person they need to hit those personal goals as well. And more than that, I also ensure that I'm getting them to access their emotional system. At the end of the day, we are human beings, right? And we have an emotional system to us. And so what I ask them is further reflective questions. If you were to become this person, how is that going to make you feel? And what is that going to mean for you? And who do you think you're going to become, right? And then furthermore, I start connecting their dots with their loved ones, people that are of importance to them. So perhaps that's family or friends or whoever they are. I ask them, what do you think it's going to mean for those people in your life? And what do you think they're going to feel when you become this? And what's that going to allow them to become? So I start expanding this picture for them, this vision for them. What that does, it adds fuel. And we can only get to our destination if we have enough fuel, right? I want to pump them up with fuel, but I want to make sure that I'm doing that for the things they want and that they desire, and not things I wish for them. I hope that makes sense. I then do what I call the 3 I am statements. Once they've shared their vision with me, their mission with me, and their purpose with me, I then say to them, naturally in life, there's going to be challenges and limitations. And so what are some limitations? I ask them, what are some limitations that they're already aware of or can anticipate that's going to come up for them? And here's where I get them to bring awareness back into their system. So I get them to see that we all have limitations at some point, and that's not the thing to focus on. The focus in this conversation, though, is I ask them, when that limitation does occur, right, now that we're aware of this limitation, what are you going to choose? A story of suffering? Or are you going to use a story that's going to empower you to do something different? Considering now you've told me who you want to be or who you must be to get what you wanted. So I get them to really go high up. I then get them to come down into their limitations, because that is natural, and we are human beings and we're going to be faced with problems and challenges in business. It's part of life. However, in those moments, we have a choice, and I get them to see that. And I get them in that moment to consent to a choice that they're going to make. And I get them to commit to that choice as well. And then from there, I say, okay, what are your 3 I am statements? Now, these I am statements are powerful. They're almost like affirmation statements that get them to anchor themselves in their role and who they're meant to be. Perhaps it's I'm a leader, or I'm powerful, or I'm resilient, or I'm relentless, or I'm here for growth, right? Whatever those 3 statements are for them, I write those down for them as well. This is all coming from them. And this is the most powerful part of this process that I noticed, is that there was nothing I said in these calls that was me projecting anything onto them. It was all from them. That is where the fuel really generates and the momentum really generates in this particular conversation. And so when we're done with the I am statements, I go ahead and go, okay, we operate through our values. And then I share the company or organization values. I say, these are the 3 or 5 values that we have. This is what we operate from. And I get feedback from them. I say, which of these do you really resonate with, or do you love? And which of them could you perhaps find challenging? Because sometimes we do find certain things challenging, and that's okay. Do they see why this value belongs in this organization and see the need for it? I dive deep on that as well. And then from there, I'm curious about their values, their personal values, because that is how they're going to operate inherently. And so I ask them, what are their personal values, and what would they want to add, or what would they have wanted to change now that they know about the organizational values? We have those discussions. And then from there, I relay all of this back to them. We go back and forth. Then we move on to the next steps of what that training period is going to look like, and so on. And I remember one beautiful human being who came into our virtual real estate agency, and she has had no background information on real estate or property or anything of that sort. And she's going to be coming in here, and she was supposed to process listings and help with appraisals and all of these things. And within 2 months, she was processing all of that all by herself. And it was amazing to watch, and now she's doing so much more than that, and she's helping all of our real estate agents out as well. So it's been amazing to watch that growth, and there are tons of other stories that I have. When this onboarding process is done, it creates drive, growth, hunger, motivation, resilience from your staff member, and they start connecting the dots, and they really are able to have the opportunity to step into the role not just by going, yeah, I'm stepping into it and I'm going to be responsible for this stuff and I'm going to do this stuff. Aside from the things to do, you got to be the person that you need to be able to do this stuff. And I think this is what this process has allowed for these team members to really step into who they're supposed to be, who they must be to fulfill this, so that they can fulfill the things in their life as well. So I hope you find this useful, and I hope that you take these gems away and use on your next onboarding process so that you can have fun at it.